If you don't have your health, what do you have?
You are a functional medicine doctor.
Join us as we blend modern and ancient wisdoms to be well now.
You know, sometimes being well now is having energy to face the day.
Yeah, get the things done that you need to get done. And energy is required to perform all the tasks of life. So if you want to have more energy, something that you can include in your life is an energy drink. And a lot of people do this. But their choices and selections of energy drinks are not always supportive of their physiology in a beneficial way. And so it perpetuates illness or heart-related issues or kidney issues down the road. So what we wanted to be able to provide for you today is a healthy energy drink and talk about this health-promoting energy drink. We've talked about bioenhancers in the past, and this energy drink actually has some bioenhancers in it. It'll improve and benefit your physiology. And today we're going to talk about this energy drink. What is it?
LionAide.
LionAide.
I've personally used LionAide to get off coffee, which was a really difficult thing because I was getting those caffeine migraine headaches behind my eyes. Like if a light went on in the room, the intense headache was so bad that I gave up. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I'll never be able to give up coffee. I'll never be able to kick caffeine. And I was able to actually, at this stage in my life, kick the coffee and then eventually like wean off LionAide because I was doing a lot of LionAide to do it, but it worked. Mm-hmm. It worked. Yeah. And I knew through your office that this is actually a much better alternative to the junk that people are taking out there. So what is LionAide?
Well, it's a 100% plant-based energy drink source. It does have necessary nutrients and vitamins in it that are required for cell function and to sustain alertness and focus and attention over time. And so this energy drink LionAide essentially was developed for kids in mind. So with that, it's interesting. You go, well, why did we develop an energy drink for kids with kids in mind? Well, the reason that we developed it with kids in mind is because I would hang out around soccer fields with my kids, supporting, coaching, watching my kids, and I would see parents hand their children Monsters.
No way.
Or Coke or some sort of caffeinated beverage to have before the game. Well, in truth, there is research that suggests that, hey, you can get a pretty good increased workout with the actin and myosin fibers of the muscles. You can have a little better pump and maybe push yourself a little bit harder, get better gains by using a little bit of caffeine prior to the exercise. So it wouldn't have been a poor decision for them to be saying, okay, here's a little caffeine before the exercise. We would rather have the kids be able to do it without. But it would be far better for them to have that kick of caffeine to support their match or their training with ingredients that also supported healthy physiology. And when you're consuming something that has added flavorings and dyes and other chemical ingredients, it becomes very detrimental to the body over time, as opposed to really supporting what the parent is trying to do, which is support their child in activity.
I mean, you hear that sugar is bad in Gatorade or in these energy drinks. Like, is it that bad though? There's sugar in everything, right? Like, tell me the difference between LionAide and a sugar-filled energy drink and what kind of impact that would have.
Well, we have a lot of different options now in our present day as far as that goes as well. So there are zero sugar options in these drinks. If you look at most of these drinks, though, their zero sugar options are chemical and synthetic sweeteners. Okay, and those chemical and synthetic sweeteners are actually more problematic for the body because they're excitotoxic, and we've talked about excitotoxins on this podcast before. But
what does that do? Yeah.
So what that does is it elicits in the brain a quick response by the body, like I need more of this, right? and it revs up certain neurological pathways in a maladaptive way. So it's almost elicits a bit of inflammation in the neurological system that the cytotoxicity does. Okay, and so we have to be really careful with these artificial sweeteners. You want to utilize or find something that has a natural sweetener, or as natural sweetener as possible. The other thing is, when you have something that sits in a liquid on a shelf for a period of time, it's very difficult to have that be sustainable over time in the liquid form, because it usually would quickly decay or dissolve and basically go bad. And so what you would want to look for even is maybe a product. If you're looking for something that's more healthy, a powder would actually be a healthier option because it stores better. It's going to stay better over time. And so in order for them with a liquid substance to keep that sustained product over time, they have to put in essentially a preservative, some type of chemical to preserve that drink and to prevent it from going bad. And so that preservative, again, is something you don't really want to be exposing to your body. And LionAide is in a powder form. And the reason it's in a powder form, and they're looking at doing packets so you can have just individual servings instead of just taking it directly out of the canister. But the reason it's in a powder form is so it can use more natural ingredients and not have to rely on some of these preservatives.
So, I mean, it tastes pretty neutral. I wouldn't say it's like overly strong, overly sweet. What do you want to send the message about in terms of its taste?
Yeah, the taste is actually great. It's not something that's overwhelming. It doesn't taste chemical in nature. It doesn't taste like, it's like that grape bubble gum that we think is grape, but it's not anything like grape, right? It's not like that chemical flavoring. It has kind of an orangey type of a flavor. It's fairly mild.
That's what I was going to say. It's just mild. It's not offensively strong in any way.
No.
It goes down super easy.
But it's good. It tastes good. The taste is not overwhelming. It's something that actually is very pleasant to have. You know, when you're running, the last thing you want sometimes is a strongly flavored substance. When you're running and active, your body is just like craving water. It's craving those electrolytes and the minerals and the nutrients. And LionAide provides that with its mild flavor, and it's packed with nutrients and vitamins and minerals. It's got B vitamins and daily allotment of vitamin C.
Really?
Oh yeah, and it's got arginine and citrulline. So arginine and citrulline have been shown to actually open up and dilate the vessels. So it delivers nitric oxide. You've seen some of these pre-workout, like nitric oxide boost. You've seen some of those. And they try to do a lot of thiamine or B1 to make people even feel like their skin is tingling. I don't know if you've taken one of those energy drinks or the pre-workout drinks, but there are certain people who love that and they thrive. This is not going to do that for you. It's not going to give you the, my skin is crawling type of sensation. It's also not going to give you the my heart is fluttering type of sensation, because it's a balanced formula. There is some caffeine delivered in here through a plant source, but your body's got to extract the caffeine from the plant. So I like to say that as we pass plants through our body, our intestines, our white blood cells, and we have all these different cells in our body that are detecting, do I need this? I'm going to take it up. Do I need this? I'm going to take it up. Ooh, we don't need that. Let that just pass through. Okay, and so we're constantly making this decision in our bodies. When we put these nutrients and this source of caffeine through, our body has the opportunity to take it up or not to take it up. It's not like anhydrous caffeine, which is synthetic caffeine. So if you see anhydrous caffeine in any of your energy drinks, you know that's a synthetic caffeine. It's a kick of caffeine that's going to go straight to and overwhelm the cell, as opposed to allowing the body to take it up as it needs it. So this has a plant-based caffeine source. It's guarana, but the plant-based caffeine source actually allows your body to take up that caffeine if it's needed to sustain more energy over time.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't feel like you're putting the pedal to the metal in a really fast way. It's not like you're like, "Rrr." It's just, it goes steadily where you need it to go, to use this metaphor. And then I feel like I just get, and it doesn't feel like I'm buzzing or anxious.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I have caffeine in my system.
Yeah,
like
well, you feel awake. You feel
Right.
alert. You're like, oh, I feel more peppy. I feel more, interested in things.
And if I'm doing it for my afternoon boost, it's usually, to me, it's better than a black tea or green tea or hopefully a coffee, because it doesn't keep me up at night either. So if I'm kind of doing that cheat thing where it's like really late in the day and I know I shouldn't, it's like a dinner time or a late lunch thing where I'm going to have some caffeine after lunch because I'm like, oh, I'm just going to feel kind of sluggish after this. I don't feel like I pay any consequences, which is a very strange thing because you always got to pay the piper at some point in life. But it feels like a pretty consequence-free caffeine boost.
Well, in my background,
it is a boost. It's not just a cup of green tea. It's more than
it's
that.
a boost.
It's
You
a boost.
feel it.
You feel
You
it.
feel it, but it's not. It doesn't make your heart jitter. It doesn't make your skin crawl.
No.
It doesn't give you any of that. It just like allows you to be alert and to focus. In fact, one of the reasons, one of the things we use it for as a result of that effect of this balanced formula is we use it for patients, even children, with ADHD, because it helps them focus.
Really?
It helps them concentrate. It helps them to get through their class. And so it improves that focus. It improves the alertness and the ability to retain and retrieve memory. But it's not overwhelming the system. It's, again, in Chinese medicine, with my Chinese medicine background, balance is the ticket. Balance is what we're looking for. And so when we created this formula, we created it with balance in mind, with sustained energy, not a kick in the pants type of energy, but sustained energy that would actually deliver a pump for your pre-workout if you wanted it to, but that also could be utilized to just help you focus and get through the day. And so we use it interchangeably. I have people who use it before they work out in the gym, and they love it. They feel like it gives them a little extra. I actually did tested it in a gym, a fitness gym and a boxing gym. And the feedback they gave me was just that, like, hey, this stuff is great. They weren't as familiar with it because they're like, well, it doesn't give us the kick we were expecting, but it actually gives us the pump that other energy drinks or pre-workout drinks do. So they still get the improvement in the muscles and the extra additional strength through their workout, but it wasn't with some sort of zing or zip to the system.
Yeah, it's not like you're sniffing a line of cocaine or something where it's like, or whatever that metaphor would be. You know what I mean? It's like the very strangest thing. It works, but it doesn't hit you like over the side of the head.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You're not taking something to the face. I'm just trying to come up with the most ridiculous metaphor I can.
Yeah,
talking about cocaine over here, but I feel like some of these energy drinks feel like they are just like.
Some of them, they feel that way. Yeah. People are looking for that kick. They're looking for the punch.
And I love the punch. I love a lot of caffeine and stimulants. And it's just, I've had that where you drink way too much caffeine and you're like, ooh, I feel uneasy right now. Mm-hmm. That's not this.
No, not at all. Not at all. You're not going to, and again, my kids will take this before they work out. Lots of kids. I have a lot.
Like what ages?
I have a lot of kids using this that will drink it before they work out. I'd say that it's probably not necessary to give it to a kid who is under 11. But, there's some pretty competitive kids, and some develop a little earlier. And so you'd have to base it on the level of competition they were in, how much they were pushing themselves, and look at LionAide more as a support, right? And I know it's interesting because we don't really look at energy drinks or pre-workouts necessarily that way, but LionAide literally is a support for the body. It nourishes the body. It sustains the body. And one of the ways that it does that is through its the Chinese balanced herbal medicine formula that I put in there. I balanced it out. So I have ginseng. We talked about ginseng as being one of the bio enhancers, right? So ginseng is going to enhance the cell's ability to receive other nutrients that are being introduced by this drink. So ginseng's a bioenhancer. Well, ginsenosides themselves, which ginseng has as one of the major active ingredients, are also anti-inflammatory, and they provide energy. So ginseng kind of plays two roles in that formula. We also have ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an adaptogenic herb. Adaptogens are called adaptogens because they adapt, essentially. They will adapt to whatever the physiological needs are of the system they're introduced to, which means they have a potent delivery of nutrients and minerals, and it allows the body to be able to kind of take what it needs. So the adaptogenic is it kind of supports you and gives you what you need at the time. So if you needed to sleep, you could sleep and rest. If you needed to perform and exercise or run from the lion, you could do that with an adaptogenic type formula or herb. And it's super interesting. My father, when I first had him use this, my father is 80 years old, and he still works and moves around. He's not like on the clock working, but he's involved working because he's like, doesn't want to stop. And it keeps him healthy, keeps him fit, keeps him active and alert. But he was getting quite tired and fatigued. And I said, well, just, try introducing this a little bit and see how it works for you. So he calls me a few days later and, oh my gosh, son, I've had more energy than I've ever had. I feel great. And I am not taking my afternoon naps. And I'm like, well, Dad, how much are you taking? Right? So he was taking one in the afternoon, and he was taking actually one in the evening.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting time to take one.
Right.
I was like, oh, you're taking one at night. Okay, well, how are you sleeping? Because I was curious as well. I hadn't really put anybody through the gamut of, hey, why don't you just take this every night and see how you do with sleep? He's like, oh, I sleep great. I'm sleeping really well. No problem at all. And so looking at it that way, and then I tried it a couple of times. Said, okay, I'll just try to take some of it at night and see if I can still sleep. And I do fine. Now, do I recommend that? No, I don't recommend that. But it is something that you can do. And the reason that that's a benefit is it won't matter necessarily kind of how late in the day you take it. You will still be able to get to a point where you can sleep, or at least your normal type of sleep when you need to get there, right? So let's say, okay, you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I have lower energy and it's 5 o'clock. You're like, well, if I drank coffee or if I did something like this, I'd be up till 3 a.m. or something, right?
Right. There's a flip side of that coin.
Yeah. And it's I better not do this.
It's not something that you're going to enjoy the next day.
But with LionAide, it's not going to give you, our experience has been, it doesn't give you that, like you can't sleep symptom.
And that's the adaptogenic herbs?
That's the adaptogenic herbs. And the Chinese herbal formula in it, because what it's doing is helping your physiology to give the body what it needs and allow the physiology to function appropriately. So when your body is saying, okay, it's balancing cortisol and it's either lifting or lowering cortisol, it's like, okay, it's time for us to sleep. It's dark outside, and now we're going to be able to sleep.
Andre Agassi, I read his autobiography. I think it was called Open, and his dad was just this wild, maniacal dude who forced Andre to practice, 10 hours a day and built this giant ball hitting machine that I think he called the Green Monster or something. And it supercharged the ball hitting machine to 20 miles an hour faster, and it would hit him right at the end of the baseline. So he became this amazing baseline player. But anyway, I'm butchering some of this. But he gave his kids speed before a tournament one time. Like, take these pills, right? So it's
wow, yeah,
so
that's intense.
To understand there are parents out there who are feeding their kids
people are
caffeine
doing
before,
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, this is a much better option.
Oh, and yeah, it's an option that is healthy for you. And again, looking at energy drinks at large, I would say,
wow, 6,000.
Do we want to be? Go ahead.
Oh, vitamin B12, 6,600%.
Yeah.
670. Yeah, like vitamin B12 is a really good.
Yeah. So your B vitamins are critical for blood vessel production. Vessel production is critical, and the health of the red blood cell is critical because it transfers your nutrients. And so if you're going to give the body nutrients, you need to make sure that the blood cell is healthy. So B vitamins help a lot with that. They also generally help with energy in the body. But if the red blood cell is healthy, you can also transfer oxygen throughout the body. And if you can have oxygen delivery throughout the body, then you're going to have a lot more energy, and your muscles are going to perform better, and you're going to be able to be more active and more focused. Your brain's going to function better if it has more oxygen. And so that's one of the reasons, for the B vitamins. And we put in there, too, we have a number of B vitamins, and their quality, so they're methylated B vitamins, which is really important. I say to a lot of patients, you really need methylated forms of your vitamins if possible. And essentially what that means is it's attached to a methyl group. And what that means is it's a naturally occurring compound, a carbon attached to two hydrogen molecules, which essentially is the basic building block of nature. So at the base of what we're saying, if we say you need to be consuming methyl-type factors, we're saying eat local, organic, farm-to-table food to get methyl factors in your diet. And so having methylated vitamins actually makes it more bioavailable. So our body recognizes it because we have more of an affinity to earth-similar things, or things that resemble naturally occurring substances. And so if we can actually have a naturally occurring substance, that's even better, because our body will take it right in and recognize it.
Who else who's pitching you an energy drink can actually explain it to you like this and not sound like a sleazy pitch man? Like, you're the one who's explaining this to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want that in my energy drink boost. Like, that sounds really healthy to me.
Yeah, we all want to be healthy. We want our kids to be healthy, and we want our kids to perform. And I understand, like I said, on the sidelines as a coach, I ran a soccer club for a while. And so I was able to observe parents and their behaviors on a very close level. And I became aware of this, and I wanted to solve this problem. And with LionAide, we have allowed an opportunity and an option for parents to be able to help their children to feel like they have a little extra edge or a little extra boost before their match and during their match, without having to sacrifice their health by introducing to them an overly sugary drink or a overly synthetic sweetener containing drink.
Well, and knowing you and knowing the clinic you run, and the fact that, I don't know, you have many children, none of which has ever received antibiotics, right?
I have 6 children, and they haven't ever received antibiotics.
Yeah, that's what I mean, is like, you would feed your kids this stuff. Your whole life is about health. You run a clinic. Like, the proof is that you feed this to your children and you believe in it. And you put your heart and soul into this. I want to create
products that I can use.
Yes.
Right? And I teach my kids to pick up products at the store, every store, even, all of the health stores even as well. Like, pick up the products, look at them, make sure it's healthy, make sure it has the ingredients that you're okay with, and that it doesn't have ingredients you're not okay with. And sometimes there are certain things based on, and we've talked about this before, sometimes there are certain concessions that you make. And that's okay, because you're aware of that concession and you know what you're choosing. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Just the awareness about it?
Well, yeah, be aware of it and understand what you're choosing. Because then if you have another option, you can choose something better, right? But if you're looking at it, you're essentially aware of, okay, well, this has this and this and this, and that has, okay, those things. Which one am I going to choose? Well, I can know that I'm going to choose the one that has the least offensive ingredients, right? The one that is going to promote more health and sustain me best over time. And that's the ingredient list I'm looking for. But I need to be able to be aware of what those ingredients are. And we've talked about a number of them on other podcasts as well. And the great thing is LionAide does not include preservatives. It does not include added sugars. It does not include additional things like the synthetic chemical sweeteners, right? Nor does it include dyes or other synthetic flavorings. And those are the things that you look for in ingredient lists that would potentially alert you to say, oh, maybe we shouldn't use this.
Okay. It has creatine in it as well. What does that do?
Yeah, so creatine helps with the tone of the muscles. It helps with muscle building and sustaining the tone of the muscle, essentially, so that you don't have what they call like muscle loss. So you don't have muscle loss or muscle wasting. There is over time, anybody who's ever taken a complete break of working out for, say, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you begin to realize, oh, I'm starting to lose a little muscle tone or even a little muscle wasting. I'm having some muscle wasting. And it doesn't take long for that to occur. And so to help build that up and to hold and sustain that tone, creatine steps in to basically do that for you. It also will help to give you a little bit more of an edge on developing that musculature. Even in athletes who like to do more bulk type of training, it'll help them in that bulking. Now there are definitely other ingredients and other supplements that you'll want to use if you're the major bulker, because this is not the product for you. If that's what you're looking for, there are other ingredients that you're going to want if you're looking to just bulk and build muscle. But creatine is going to help sustain the tone and give some building as well.
And I see like turmeric root extract in there. There's many ingredients.
Yes.
I'm just cherry
Turmeric
picking
is
these.
anti-inflammatory. It's also a bioenhancer, right? So it's, again, we're looking to improve physiology. We're looking to balance. The key in this formula is balance. The key for an energy drink is balance. It's not how quickly can I get to a state of absolute zip. It's how can I sustain a natural state, a level of focus over time. Like that's what we're looking for, is the duration, not just the spike. And so that's why when we advertise this as well, we say you'll get sustained energy and you won't have a crash. Like there is no crash with LionAide. It doesn't exist. You just have sustained energy. And you may some people feel like, okay, I'm going to take a little extra, or I'm going to do 2 of these in a day. That's okay. For me, I don't know that that's necessary, but it depends on the demand, like what physical demand they're putting their body through, and sometimes even the level of focus, or they're staying up for longer periods of time and they need a little more assistance, and this will help with that.
Yep.
But it's not going to overwhelm your physiology and force you to do something that would otherwise be nefarious for you.
And the most important, where can they find LionAide?
So if you go online, earthsmedicinecabinet.com, and you can order it right there, directly online from Earth's Medicine Cabinet, and they'll ship it and sell it to you.
Awesome. Well,
right to your house.
I highly recommend this stuff. I haven't tried it with my kids yet. I think I'm going to wait for a little bit longer. But, hey, I mean, the amount of stuff you see kids consuming these days, and the fact that their kids are getting Monster energy drinks and soda, it's there's probably a time and place for this.
Well, and even honestly, even popsicles.
Really?
Otter pops, all these different things.
Just the sugar?
I would rather give my child this than those.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And they get a lot of that.
They do, well, yeah, they do.
They just do it.
And it's life.
It is life.
That's part of growing up, and that's part of being a kid, and enjoy life and have fun. And we're not trying to take that away. We're just giving you options for healthier living, so that you can be well now.
Be well now, everybody.
Namaste.
MedicineCabinet.com. Namaste. Let us know if you have any questions. You can reach out to your office or Be Well Now Podcast.
Thank you, Nick.
@gmail.com. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.